part of portion we left in gas well testing, we had discussed that how the gas well has, how the gas well is differed from the oil well, and what are the properties which make it different than the oil wells, right? And we have seen certain set of equations, certain modifications which allow us to use the same equations that we used in oil wells as of gas wells. So we've seen that we have three approaches basically. One approach is P square approach, which is for pressure less than 2000. Now we have another approach which is for pressure greater than 3000, which is just P approach. And we have also seen that we MP approach for pressure between uh, 2000 and 3000, right? Now we have also seen that how these equations can be modified for gas wells. Now we'll continue from the slide that we left earlier. Now, as you can see that we have two different kind of approaches. One is pseudo pressure approach and one is P square approach, both shown on the same slide. On the left hand side, you can see the pseudo pressure approach where the equation written for gas well is modified in a form of quadratic equation, right? Now you can see this MPR minus MPWF is equal to AQS plus BQS into QSC square, right? Similarly, you can see in P square approach, the same equation is written in the form of P square minus PWF square equal to AQG plus BQG square. In both the equation, you see we have A term. Now this A term is having skin factor only, right? And the permeability. But this BGS contains the Darcy coefficient, non-Darcy coefficient, right? So BG is actually taking care of turbulent effect near the wellbore, and AGS is taking care of permeability and skin. So these are the two different approaches that we modified. And in pseudo pressure approach and P square approach, we have seen that the equation is modified into the quadratic form, where the A represents the uh, transient term, or in if it is in pseudo steady state condition, right? See, our if radius of investigation is greater than or near equal to RE, then we reach the pseudo steady condition. In that case, this AGS will not contain the time term. Okay. Now, if it is RI is less than RE, that is your radius of investigation is less than RE, then this AGS will also contain the time term. But for gas well deliverability, as we have discussed, that we don't require the transient term, we only require the pseudo steady state, right? So in that case, this AGS will not contain the um, time term. Therefore, you see that AGS is only having the reservoir properties like skin and permeability. However, if there is turbulence near the well, that is taken care by B term. So this is the basic equation which we'll be using soon. So let's come to the inflow performance based on field test, right? Now there we have equations to find out different properties for the suppose you want to find out the turbulence near the well, so you want to find out northern Darcy coefficient D. So we have a different set of equations to find that. But using inflow performance based on field test, we can find these terms simply by using the field data test, right? So number one, you can see that generating inflow performance using reservoir data, we have to rely on this field test. So the equation A, which is written above, you can see we have QSC equal to CPSS. Now CPSS is nothing but the constant that we have seen in earlier equation, that is 703 into 10 power minus 6, right? Now this is CPSS into KH. In bracket you see we have, and we are following the MP approach now. Now this approach is the most accurate approach. Therefore maybe we can use it everywhere, but based on our requirement, we can use P square approach or either P approach. So here we are using MP approach. Now equation A, you can see that we don't have any non-Darcy term here, right? Now see, for maximum flow rate, you can see the below equation, this PWF, MPWF is 0 now here. That means uh, at MPWF equal to 0, the well must be producing at the maximum flow rate. Now this maximum flow rate is given by QSC max. And you see this equation A is modified to equation B. Now further, if you divide this equation A by equation B, you see that we have another equation shown in blue, where you have this QSC divided by QSC max equal to 1 minus MPWF by MPR. Now this equation has come assuming that the well is producing at maximum rate where MPWF is 0. So we got this equation. Now further you see that QSC max is calculated by having this form of equation. Now you see, if MPWF and QSC are known somehow, right? Now this is called single point test. Single point test means once you have the value of PWF and QSC, then you can find out the QSC max. So well may be produced for certain time and the pressure drawdown as noted. Okay, so only one data will actually help you to get the deliverability curve. Now we'll see by an numerical how we can do it, but here you try to understand that QSC max we can calculate using the equation down on the right hand side, left hand side. So here this MPR is known. MPR is known because the reservoir initial pressure is known, or average pressure. So MPWF and QSC are respect only single point test which need to be done to find out the QSC max. Now once you have the data of single point test, this QSC max is calculated. Now just simply using this equation which is derived earlier at the top in blue, you can see. So just by having this QSC max data, you can calculate QSC for any value of PWF. So this equation will give you the value of QSC for any value of PWF is if you able to find out this QSC max, and QSC max is found by the previous equation written below in the left hand side. Okay, now we'll take up one question based on this and we'll see how a single point test will be able to find out the deliverability test of the well. Okay, so you can see here the following data is taken, where you see we have only this PWF and QSC. Other are reservoir properties. You have initial reservoir pressure 2000 psi. Now you see the first step that we are going to have is that we calculate this QSC max, right? Now this QSC max equal to QSC divided by 1 minus MPWF divided by MPR. Now this MPWF and MPR, MPR is known because you know PR. So if you know PR, you have to find MPR. We'll see how we can calculate MPR. But before that, just look at this PWF value, right? Now this PWF and QSC has come from single point test. Now if you substitute this value here in this particular equation, you'll be able to find out QSC max as we have found below, right? So now QSC max is known. Once you have this QSC max, you have to use this equation on the right hand side, where you can find out any value of QSC for the respective or corresponding value of MPWF. Now this QSC max is known, therefore you can find out any value of QSC max, any value of QSC for any value of MPWF, right? In this way you can generate a deliverability curve, and you see in the below table it is given that for different pressures we are able to find out different QSC. Now once you have this data, you can plot your deliverability curve. This is known as single.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, we have to find this MPWF and MPR from the formula, that integral formula of MP that was given in the first lecture. That is MP is equal to 2 integration of PB to P
Yes.
dP by mu z.
Yes. 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 For that,
Okay, sir.
For that, you need the value of
Reservoir properties. Yeah.
properties. So
Mu.
as I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
shown here in this slide, that for a
Okay, sir.
definite value of pressure, you have the value of viscosity
Okay,
and
sir.
compressibility. Then you have to find P by mu Z for the respective one.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
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 Okay. So a tutorial, you can see the tutorial in book how it is found, and then you can do it, right? So here just I mentioned that you just take MPS pressure now. Okay. Now
Yes,
you
sir.
see,
Yes, sir.
now there may be the case when you have non-Darcy effect, right? Now earlier equation you see that this B term is absent, right? That is BQS into QSC square is absent. Why it is absent? Because we have only skin, not the turbulence effect. In the previous equation, just we have seen, right? So if this non-Darcy effect is significant, it is not enough to have a single rate test as we have seen in the previous numerical, right? So you cannot just have a single test and calculate the properties, like calculate the A and B both, right? So for calculating A and B both, at least you have to go for two data, right, from the reservoir. So you have to have this value of PWF and Q, and you have to have another value of PWF and Q. Then only you can solve this equation for two different unknowns, right? So therefore, what you have to do, you have to do at least 2-point test or 3-point test or 4-point test. Okay, based on your sorry. So you have to do multiple point test. I mean to say, right? That is called multi-rate test, not single rate test, right? So this is the concept of multi-rate test which has come up to actually find out these two different constant. And once you have this value of two different constant like AQS and BQS, then it is easier for you to get a simple equation which will give you the deliverability of a given well, right? So here you can see if the multi-rate test data are available, then by plotting this MPR minus MPWF divided by QSC versus QSC will give you a straight line, right? And this straight line you have a slope. Now once you have a slope, you have the value of BQS, and another you have the value of intercept, which is nothing but this AQS, right? Now see, once you have the value of AQS and BQS, once it is obtained, we can calculate QSC at any other well flowing pressure using the equation down in the right hand side. Okay. So this is for MP approach. You can do the similar exercise for P square approach. As we have seen that in place of MPR, then P square will come. And generally we see that the reservoir pressure, if it is below 2000, we can simply apply that equation without having the knowledge of or calculating this MP value, right? So this is about multi rate test. Now we'll see how this multi rate tests are performed. So this is the equation you see here on this, but this given slide is the equation. This is called theoretical approach, right? Because we have derived this equation from the earlier equation, right? That we have seen. Now this has come from the pressure distribution equation. Now there is another approach which is called back pressure approach, and it is also known as empirical approach, where we can write this equation in this form. You can see QSC equal to CS, right, into MPR minus MPWF. You take this CSSC or CPSC. Okay, both are the same one, right? So you can see this QSC equal to C into MPR minus MPWF to the power N, right? So both this CS and N are similar to AS and VGS. So this C represents the constant which take care of the permeability of the reservoir and skin factor, and N is taking care of the turbulence effect present in the reservoir, right? So this is an empirical relationship which is a result of large number of empirical observations. Now if you see that you take the log both side, you see once you plot pressure on the y-axis and QSC on the x-axis, what you will see that the intercept will give you C value and the slope will give you 1 by n, right? So just by plotting this given equation, you will be able to find out the slope. The slope will give you 1 by n and the intercept will give you C value, right? And this has to be done in log scale. So once you do it in log scale, you have a straight line and then you will be able to find n and C from that. Now, once you have the value of n and C, you have a given set of deliverability equation, and from that you will be able to find out the deliverability curve, that is IPR curve. Okay, now we'll take up different questions. Based on that, we'll be able to do this analysis, right? Now you see I have written something for value of n, where you see this n value should lie between 0.1 and 0.5 and 1, right? Now you see that there is a given effect which happens below 0.5 and above 1. Okay, so you read this given text in the blue, right? This is for reference and this can be asked in any test like GATE or something. So you may aware of this because this is not given in most of the text. Okay, so this n value is taking care of the turbulent effect. So if it is 0.5, it is highly turbulent. If it is below 0.5, the turbulence effect is less. And if it is less than 0.5, then there is maybe the chances of liquid loading, etc. So you must see this, right? Okay, so let's move ahead. Now you see that once you do the multi-rate testing, you will have a graph like this, as we have just discussed, that you have to plot P square minus PWF square. If it is a P square approach, then you have to do this plotting in log scale. And once you have a curve like this, which is a straight line, you see you have different points that you have measured from your multi-rate testing, and then the slope is giving you 1 by n. And you see that at this value of PWF, that is atmospheric, you will have the open hole potential, right? So absolute open flow potential you can get from this graph or this technique. Now you will be able to establish, now this is the empirical approach which I am discussing now on the right hand side at the top, where you see the equation is equal to QG is equal to C. Now C is coming to be 0.01508, P square minus PW square divided to the power 0.690. Now here you see that this curve, that is a straight line curve, is known as deliverability curve, right? This is deliverability curve. Now you see there may be a curve which is below this curve. Okay, so there you can find also certain straight line below this curve. We will discuss about that soon. Okay, why do we get this type of curve? So this is called deliverability curve, and these actual points are the stabilized pressure values, okay, for a different flow rate. So this PWF, whatever these points are that is measured, are the stabilized value, and this line is called deliverability curve. Now similar to this equation, that is called back pressure relationship, you see that you have the theoretical approach. Now at the top, this is called empirical approach. Below you see this theoretical approach, where you can also plot this P square minus PWF square, or MP minus MPWF divided by QG, and on the x-axis you can plot QG. So from here also you have to find this constant. So here you can see 47.17 is your constant, which is nothing but B, and this 773 is your A. So once you have this value of A, which is nothing but your intercept, and this value 47.17 is your slope, where you can find out the absolute open hole potential, and this is the equation which is your deliverability equation. Okay, so for any value of Q, you can find PWF, or any value of PWF, you can find PG, and then you can plot a deliverability curve. Now on the left hand side down, you can see there is a comparison which shows that both the empirical and theoretical are compared, and you see that theoretical is giving the slight less value of open hole potential. Okay, and it has been argued that this empirical approach is slightly giving you more error as compared to the theoretical approach. However, this both can be used for the analysis. Now here I have just taken few data, and from that data I have tried to explain this multi-rate testing. Now you can see that on the top we have a table where you can see the data of QSC and PWF, and this MP is calculated. Now you see that you have initial reservoir pressure PR. On that respect you can able to find out this MP value. Now if you have such data available, which is nothing but this multi-rate test data, you can plot this MPR minus MPWF divided by QSC versus QSC, as just we have discussed in the previous slide. Now once you can plot this, you will be able to get this particular graph, and from this graph you will be able to find out the AG, which is nothing but your intercept, and BG, which is nothing but your slope. So once you have this, you will be able to find out this QSC using this equation, right? So you have the value of AG and BG. You can use this equation to find out QSC for any value of PWF. So this is delta P, which is nothing but MP minus MPWF. So for any value of PWF, you can find QSC using this equation. Okay. So another approach is an empirical approach. Again, I've tried to show you that this QSC is plotted and against this MPR minus MPWF on a log scale, and you see the slope will give you N and this intercept will give you C value. Now this both quadratic and empirical approach. So this quadratic approach is also called theoretical approach, and empirical approach has been plotted, and you there is slight difference in this AOF value. So this is around 5 to 10%. So this is acceptable. Now coming to the practical applicability of such type of discussion, that we have three different type of tests, particularly in gas wells, to find out the deliverability. Now as you see that whatever we discussed just now, the multi-rate test using theoretical approach and multi-rate test using empirical approach, comes under conventional back pressure test. So whatever data I have shown you is the data for a flow rate and stabilized value of pressure. So that is a very good approximation in case of high permeability formation, because in high permeability formation you will able to get the stabilization very soon, right? So this comes under conventional back pressure approach, where you can see if you have isochronal test. Now these are some modification done in the conventional back pressure test, which is nothing but this flow after flow test. So this conventional back pressure test, we can also term it as flow after flow test. Then its modification is isochronal test, which is not for low permeability formation. Now this is done because you want your pressure to stabilize, and if the pressure is not stabilizing soon, so in case of low permeability formation, so in case of low permeability formation, the pressure is not going to stabilize very soon, so you cannot use the flow after flow test. Then it is a modification of this conventional back pressure test, where we introduce certain buildups in between of flow, and then there is a modified isochronal test that is also used for low permeability formation, where you see that the time between the flow and the buildup will become same. It is done in order to minimize the time taken during the testing. Okay, so these are the modifications and limitations which is done for deliverability test. Now we'll see each test one by one. So in the previous class also I have discussed this flow after flow test. So you see that this flow rate is increased at different increments, and this value of pressure, stabilized value of pressure, is collected. Now you see that at different flow rates, the pressure is decreasing. After some time, it's getting stabilized. Again, in the second flow rate, the pressure is going to stabilize. Third and fourth, and finally you have buildup. Now you see that gas well deliverability test has been called back pressure test because they flow against a particular pipeline back pressure, right? So whenever you do the test, you have a certain back pressure, pipeline back pressure against which you have to flow the well, and therefore you see such type of test is also called back pressure test. Now this test is also referred. So this is a simple flow after flow test, which is also called multi-point test. Now the well flow at selected constant rate until the pressure stabilizes. That is, we reached a pseudo steady state, and then the stabilized rate and pressure are recorded, and the rate is then changed, and the well flow until the pressure stabilizes again. So this is done for 4 to 5 rate increments, and this is typical multi-flow rate test, right? And here you see that you have a simple graph which is called deliverability graph. Now you see that you have plotted something on the y-axis and something on the x-axis, and you got a deliverability curve. The slope is giving you this value of n. So this is typically the empirical approach. You can do it by the theoretical approach also. You will get the same kind of curve with slight changes. So this is the multi-rate test you performed, and once you have this deliverability curve, you have a slope, you have an intercept. Now once you have these two value, you have a definite set of equation which is in the form of empirical equation that we have seen earlier. So this is the deliverability curve you got, and you will be able to find out the IPR very simple means, right? So just I go back and show you that using this equation you are doing that, and once you have this value of CS and N for any particular value of PWF, you can find QSC, right? It is simple, right? Now coming to isochronal testing. Now the objective of this isochronal testing is to obtain the data for stabilized delivery curve for gas well without flowing it sufficiently long. Okay, this is just to minimize the time that is taken during the stabilization period. Now this isochronal test consists of alternately closing in the well until a stabilized or near to stabilized pressure is reached. So we are not bothering about getting the stabilized pressure. However, we reach to the stabilized pressure without see we can find out the time for which we get the stabilized rates. We have seen in unit 1. So from that we have an idea at what time this stabilization pressure will reach, and therefore you can design your well test according to that. So the well is flowed at different rates for a set period of time. The bottom hole pressure PWF at time T being recorded. One flow test is conducted for a time period long enough, right? So last test which is being performed, you can see in this graph that this last test is performed for a long time so that the stabilized pressure is reached. So we are not bothering for stabilized pressure in the previous flow rates, but once you have the last flow rate, you have to flow the well for a long period of time so that you will be able to get the stabilized pressure, particularly for the last point. So this will save your time, right? However, the pressure reached in each flow rate must be near to the stabilized pressure. Now, what you do, see the last point, the characteristic slope n developed under short flow condition is applicable to long flow condition. Okay, so now n is same for short flow condition and the long flow condition, it will not change. However, for each time that is being passed, so suppose you take point number 1. Okay, so point number 1 is certain time of flow period, right? Again, you see here and the last, this is the point number 1 for certain flow rate for certain period of time. So the time duration for reaching to 1 is equal to time uh, for the other flow rate reaching to 1. Okay, so in this case you see the n value is same, however the c value will be different. We'll see once you go to the numerical. You see that this is a typical isochronal curve, and for each test at different times the c value will change, however the value of n, that is slope, will not change. Okay, let's go ahead and discuss this isochronal testing. Now you see on the left hand side, sorry, on the right hand side, I have shown you one graph. Okay, now you see that we have plotted different lines, different slopes, right? So there are 4 slopes which have been plotted for 4 different time after the flow has started, right? So you see that for time 1 you have another deliverability curve, for time 2 you have another deliverability curve, then for time 3 you have different, and for time 4 you have different. Now what you can observe is that the slope is constant for all, however the intercept is changing, right? Now you see that how we have plotted this graph. So suppose you have the data on the right hand side. You see for the time of flow of 1 hour. Okay, so if your pressure p, initial pressure is pi, and the flowing pressure is like this, so this is data collected for isochronal test. So you see that at time equal to 1, okay, you have a different pwf, you have a different q. So you just plot for this at particular time equal to 1 hour. So you can plot for different time equal to 1 hour. So let us see by the graph. So suppose you are flowing at a rate of qsc. Okay, now at t equal to suppose 2 minutes. So at t equal to 2 minutes, you just observe this pressure from here and observe the flow rate. Now flow rate is constant, so don't worry about flow rate. Just measure the pressure at time equal to 2 minutes, right? Or 2 hour, whatever is comfortable to you. Again, if you go to the another flow rate, again for the same 2 hour or 2 minutes, you just take the pressure value from this graph. Okay, so this is for time t1. I am saying, right? So for time t1, which is equal to 2 minutes, you just take the value of pwf from each graph. Okay, so for again second flow rate, you take 2 minute the pressure value. For q3, you again take the time equal to 2 minutes and observe the pressure value. Again for q rate, q4, you observe at time equal to 2 minutes the pressure value, and just you have to plot, right? Now once you plot, you will get a graph like this. Okay, now if you do the same exercise for different time, you will get another delivery curve. If you do it for another, you will get another delivery curve. Now what does it mean? It means that all these curves which you are obtaining are not the actual deliverability curve, because the pressure is transient at that stage where you are observing the data, right? So pressure has not reached the stabilized state, right? So if the pressure has not reached the stabilized state, what you are getting is the wrong value of intercept. However, the slope is not changing, right? So that is why we conduct a last test in this graph at the extended period of time, right? So you see that this is the extended period of time which is being plotted on this graph, and you see that for that particular extended period, you have this point. Okay, so as you see that the slope is not changing, so we can draw a line which is equal to the slope of this previous curve, which is called transient deliverability curve, right? Because the pressure has not reached the stabilized condition. As you can see that pressure is declining here, and at time equal to 2 minutes or 2 hour, the pressure has not stabilized, right? So pressure is still transient. So why you have taken the data here? Now once you have taken the data at transient point, that is not the actual deliverability curve, because for deliverability you have to reach the pseudo steady state. So each line which is showing the slope n, they have not reached the stabilized pressure, therefore they will not represent the actual deliverability curve. So actual deliverability curve is shown by the last test, which is the extended test which is conducted. But if you plot just that point, you will be not able to find out the delivery curve. Therefore, we need different test data. From there, you can find out the slope. So once you know the slope, you have to just draw a line equivalent to that slope, and this will be your deliverability curve as you got in flow after flow test. So in flow after flow test, we have just one line, okay, because whatever pressure we are reaching are the stabilized value of pressure. But in isochronal test, since the test is done for a smaller duration of time, we are not bothered to reach the pseudo steady state. Therefore, one thing that we can do, we can find the slope, and from that slope, just by having a last test conducted for extended duration, we can find out a single point. And once you know that single point, you will have a graph which is of equivalent slope to that of earlier graph that is plotted. Okay, and in this way you will get the actual deliverability curve. And similar is the concept for modified, where you see that we have just taken the value of pressure. In this you can see that the duration of flow rate and duration of pressure buildup are same, right? Only thing, and the last flow rate is the extended period. Obviously in this test data, there may be some inaccuracy, but this will save a lot of time during the test analysis. Therefore, it's very similar to this isochronal test, and the uh, amount of calculation that goes into modified isochronal testing and isochronal testings are also same. Only difference is the time, right? So modified isochronal test is done for low permeability reservoir, where you will take long time to go to the pseudo steady state. And once you devise a technique so that the time of test is reduced, and this can be reduced by this manner. And only thing we have to do is that last flow rate should be extended so that we get a point. And suppose you got this point, which is shown in the dark here. So if you have just this value of point, you cannot tell where your delivery curve is going. It's going in this direction or going in this direction. Therefore, you must need all this data so that you can accurately predict that what is the slope of the curve, so that you can plot the delivery curve for this point. So once you got this line, you can find out the intercept, because the slope is known from the earlier graphs. So you have a deliverability equation. And once you have the deliverability equation, you can plot the IPR performance curve for a given well, right? So this is all about the testing. And there is one numerical that I have taken for isochronal test from John Lee book. You see that we have some given data, and from this given data, we take the for different flow rates. Just you have to plot this P square minus P square WF on the y-axis, and on the x-axis you have to plot QG, and you got 4 different points here. So this is for only certain duration of 12 hour. You see that this is 12 hour, this is again 12 hour, this is again 12 hour here. So this is, the flow is done for 12 hours. So for each flow rate done at a period of 12 hours, you just take the data here, plot it, you will get a curve which is deliverability curve. And this is not the actual deliverability curve, this is the transient deliverability curve, because you have taken the data of pressure which is not yet stabilized. Okay, so therefore the last test will give you the stabilized value of pressure and Q, and from there you can find out this point. And because you have the point, you don't have the slope, so slope can be taken similar to this curve. Okay, so therefore this is your original deliverability curve now, and from there you have this equation which is original deliverability equation. So this is all about this isochronal test. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, can you please go back to the isochronal test curve?
This one?
No, sir. Back the first curve you explained.
Yes.
Only isochronal. Yeah, sir. This one. Sir, you told that the pressure here after before just second flow rate is not stabilized.
So how we decide that flow period? Like now we will start the second flow rate. Now we'll start the third flow rate. How we'll decide that time period?
Okay. So see, this is the flow rate, right? And this is the flow curve. So this data is recorded, right? So whatever data I have given you, just a data for calculation, but this is the original data, right? So for each time, suppose you take 2 hours or 2 minutes, you can have the value of pressure here, right? So for a given flow rate, you can have the value of pressure which has not yet reached the pseudo steady state. Still, you are in transient condition, right? So from here, you can observe the data. Suppose 2 minutes, you can observe the data in this flow period, right? Again, in second flow period, you can observe the data at 2 minutes. Okay, don't just go to the unit. It may be 2 hours, right? I'm just giving an example. So in the third curve also, you can just take the 2 minute data. And for each time you are taking the data will allow you to plot a deliverability curve, right? So suppose you go to this graph, this graph on the right hand side, you see for suppose 2 minutes, you observe the pressure value and flow rate is known. So for a given flow rate, you are just changing the value of pressure now, okay, because flow rate is constant. So you have a graph which is something looking like this, okay. So you have different plots. For a given flow rate, you have different pressures for each time. So pressure is changing, right? It is declining. So for each given flow rate, you have different flowing pressure. So just what you have to do, you have to plot this on this graph. And once you plot it, you will get a deliverability curve. Because your pressure is not yet reached the pseudo steady state, whatever pressure you are taking for different times is always transient. Okay, until you know that you have certainly reached the pseudo steady state condition. And as I said, this deliverability curve is for pseudo steady state condition, not for transient. Okay.
And so second question is that you told that their conventional flow after flow test and multi-rate test are not similar to IPR. Why, sir? Because they both are come from same equation. That is QSC is equal to C into del P raised to N.
Which equation you are talking
about? Sir, can you go to previous slide?
1 minute. This one?
No, sir, previous slides.
This one?
Before isochronal.
This one?
No, sir. Before yes, sir. Yes. This equation that QG is equal to C into P bar square minus PWF square. Yeah. So it is the same equation as Petkovich IPR. So why
No.
this?
This is plotted between P bar. This is a pressure differential here.
Yes, sir. I got that.
So this is a deliverability curve. I am saying IPR. You see, IPR is PWF versus Q, right? So in that case, you will get a curve like this, Okay. So this is a deliverability curve. I am not saying this is not a deliverability curve. This is a deliverability curve. But if I compare this with IPR, you will get a graph like this. Okay, then see you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.